Lavish vacations, huge parties, and $1 million wardrobe. Turns out life's pretty good when you're the niece of the people's princess. Who'd have thunk it? Unless you're seriously into the royal family, you might be wondering who Kitty Spencer actually is. Yes, she's Princess Diana's niece, but how does she fit in with the rest of the royals? Well, due to her connection with Lady Di, Kitty Spencer has some pretty famous cousins. The most famous among these are, of course, Prince William and Prince Harry. Although William and Harry have been long embroiled in a very bitter and very public feud, Kitty has yet to comment publicly on her cousins' disagreements.
As brothers, you have good days, you have bad days.
Instead, she tends to quietly attend events that are important to each brother. For example, Kitty and William both work with the Centrepoint charity for homeless youth. In 2024, they both spoke at the Centrepoint Awards. Back in 2018, meanwhile, she was spotted attending Harry's wedding to Meghan Markle. Although, to be fair, pretty much every royal was at that particular event. Kitty stood out from the crowd, however, with her green Dolce & Gabbana gown, which embraced the spirit of springtime finery with hand-painted flowers on the skirt. As a minor royal, Kitty Spencer holds a number of aristocratic titles. Her father, Charles Spencer, is the 9th Earl Spencer and presides over the historic Althorpe estate in England. Kitty's mother was born Victoria Lockwood, but temporarily became the Viscountess Spencer during her ill-fated marriage to Charles. As a result, Kitty is technically part of the British peerage and carries the title of Lady. Despite the prestige associated with Kitty's titles, she isn't likely to reside at her family's historic estate anytime soon. This is due to the British tradition of male primogeniture, which means that family inheritances are passed down through the firstborn son. Although many aristocratic families have ditched this tradition in recent years, Kitty's father has not done the same. In 2019, Charles Spencer told The Telegraph that Kitty's younger brother, Louis Viscount Althorpe, will probably become the next Earl Spencer. He said, "Is it any fairer that the eldest child gets it instead of the eldest male? Whatever you say is a selection." Although Kitty won't inherit the family mansion, she does continue to benefit from her titles, as members of the British peerage tend to be about as well connected as you might expect. In recent years, Kitty's titles have almost certainly made her friends in elite spaces such as the Royal Ascot and parties at Kensington Palace. Although she won't be the Countess Spencer anytime soon, Kitty Spencer still has plenty of career prospects. Like Princess Diana before her, Kitty has a passion for fashion.
It's beautiful, it feels so feminine, and I love this shape.
But unlike her famous aunt, Kitty was actually given the opportunity to try her hand at modelling. Over the years, she has modelled clothes for major brands such as Estée Lauder and Ralph Lauren. She also became a brand ambassador for Dolce & Gabbana and Bulgari, giving her the chance to develop a fabulously expensive wardrobe. Speaking to Hello magazine about the couture in her closet, Kitty mentions several major designers. She said, "I love McQueen, Temperley, Erdem, Vivienne Westwood and Burberry. Anything that's fun but feminine. And then the international ones I tend to wear are Dolce & Gabbana and Ralph Lauren." As pricey as these brands can be, Kitty says that she prioritizes her personal tastes over the temptation to follow trends. She told Hello, "I think the best thing about fashion and style is taking the bits that suit you and playing with them, rather than conforming to whatever the trends are."
The clothes make me feel confident, they make me feel my best.
Thanks to her unique look and ties to Princess Diana, Kitty Spencer has been asked to sit for magazine interviews time and time again. And on several occasions, she's even made the cover. Over the years, photographs of Kitty have appeared on the covers of Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, and Town & Country. In 2015, Kitty sat down with Tatler for a photo shoot and interview, and footage of the shoot demonstrates just how much work goes into making her camera ready. At one point, an entire team of people keep busy by preparing a classic car for Kitty's photos. This level of attention is the sort of thing that most people never experience. Of course, thanks to her name and connections though, Kitty now considers it part of her daily life. Although Kitty Spencer has found success as a model, she didn't always plan to work in the fashion industry. For many years, she had been more focused on her studies, some of which took place in Florence, Italy. Looking back on her student days in an interview with Firenze, Kitty recalled, "On weekends we would go to the Santa Maria Novella station or bus stop and jump on the first bus or train that came our way, no matter where it was headed. In doing so, we were also able to see smaller towns, like Fiesole, San Gimignano, or Cinque Terre." Even today, Kitty maintains her passion for all things Italy. As an adult, she has frequently returned to her old stomping grounds, and things haven't become much less glamorous. In the same conversation with Firenze, Kitty admitted, "Over the years, I've been lucky enough to return to Florence for incredibly glamorous experiences, such as listening to Andrea Bocelli perform at Palazzo Vecchio and, of course, the Dolce & Gabbana high fashion show."
It represents everything great about Italy.
Back in 2019, when Kitty Spencer was still single, she told Harper's Bazaar that her most important characteristic in a potential partner was kindness. She said, "If you haven't got kindness, you haven't really got much. The men that I've been with have been kind and still are." And it's lovely because it's like a greater form of friendship in a way. 2 years later, the aristocrat seemed to have met her match in South African multimillionaire Michael Lewis. The pair tied the knot in a luxurious ceremony near Rome in July 2021. Held in the gardens of the historic Villa Aldobrandini, their wedding ceremony blended natural beauty with classical grandeur. After Kitty and Lewis said their I do's, they treated their friends and family to a huge celebratory dinner followed by a fireworks display. And the honeymoon was no less lavish. Following their blowout wedding bash, Kitty and Lewis travelled to the Amalfi Coast for a little bit of rest and relaxation. Reporters from the Daily Mail spotted the pair looking happy in the beach town of Positano, and at one point, they were photographed jumping into the turquoise waters of the Tyrrhenian Sea. Given Kitty's past comments about Italy, the relaxed, beachy vibe of her honeymoon was likely exactly as she hoped it would be. She once told Town and Country of being in Italy, "It's just pure pleasure and learning, and being surrounded by every type of beauty." When Kitty Spencer returned to London from her honeymoon, she was sporting an engagement ring worth an estimated £30,000. And this was far from the first piece of expensive jewellery that Kitty has worn out in public. In 2018, she was hired as a Bulgari brand ambassador, which gave her the opportunity to wear some pretty unique pieces.
She just has too much style.
She's too funny.
She just has too much everything.
Shortly after signing with the brand, Kitty told Harper's Bazaar, "It is an immense honour to be working with the most iconic Italian jewellery brand in the world." Since taking on this role, Kitty has worn many Bulgari pieces out on the town. At a 2024 event held at Kensington Palace, she flaunted what appeared to be the diamond and white gold pendant from the Fioreve necklace collection. She also wore an enormous flower-shaped ring on her right hand. Following the event, Kitty shared a photo of her bling on Instagram and tagged Bulgari in the shot. Some royal watchers suspect that Kitty Spencer might have dabbled in plastic surgery. To get to the bottom of this question, we spoke to board-certified New York City facial, plastic and reconstructive surgeon Dr. Joel Kolperman. As the face of Kolperman Aesthetic Surgery, Dr. Kolperman knows a thing or two about cosmetic procedures, and in his opinion, there's a chance that Kitty has potentially used lip fillers, facial fillers, and Botox. Since she's never confirmed this one way or another, however, it's impossible to be sure. Any surgery that Kitty has undergone would have likely been pretty pricey. According to Dr. Kolperman, fillers can cost anywhere between $500 and $1,500 per session. Botox, meanwhile, could have set Kitty back anywhere between $200 and $600 per area. Dr. Kolperman did note, however, that many of the changes in Kitty's facial features could be attributed to factors such as diet or exercise. He said, her significant weight loss has also contributed to her transformation, which can naturally enhance facial contours. He went on to add that Kitty might have engaged in another type of facial care to achieve the desired effect. He explained, while this is not a cosmetic procedure, non-invasive treatments like cool sculpting could have supported this process. Just because Kitty Spencer lives lavishly doesn't mean she never gives back. On the contrary, Kitty is a big-time philanthropist who has donated much of her time to numerous charitable organizations. In the past, she has mobilized her large social media following to shed light on social problems such as youth homelessness. As an ambassador for Centrepoint, she raises awareness about young people who live on the streets. Notably, Centrepoint was once one of her late aunt's patronages. Homelessness isn't the only cause close to Kitty's heart either. She has also demonstrated an interest in combating HIV/AIDS, and she once raised £140,000 for the Elton John AIDS Foundation. She's also been involved in charitable modelling projects for organisations such as Save the Children UK.